YouTube? This is Ty, your Metalhead Weatherman here. Hope you guys have had another good day and are having a great evening right now and staying warm because there is still a little bit of lingering cold air. But I have good news for you. For those of you in particular that are tired of the cold, there's going to be a very, very quick warm up. Come tomorrow, if the snow hasn't already melted, it will be completely gone by then. A lot of you guys are going to be making pushes towards the 50s and 60s. But I'm making a quick video today in regards to the next couple days. There is still a severe weather threat. The more dangerous threat definitely looks to be Monday. Tuesday, there's a little bit more uncertainty about that, but we will go into detail about both of those. So before I get into it a little further, I hope that you guys, if you like what I'm doing, you would like the video, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. Try to continue to get the word out there. I'm sitting at 4 subscribers. Hopefully by sometime within the next 3 months, might be up to about 20 at least. Be nice if I got more, but I'll take what I can get in the meantime. Without further ado though, let's get into it. We're going to look at the National Weather Service here, and we're going to be talking about the day 2 risk, which is Monday. Yesterday there was a chance for quote-unquote severe. Now that we're a little bit closer within range, we've seen a slight uptick, if anything. Excuse me. We've seen a slight uptick. Now they have issued a slight risk for areas like Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, and stretching out just about as far as about Lafayette, Louisiana. Main threat with this is touted to be damaging winds and straight line hail. Damaging straight line winds and hail, particularly for areas that I would say are east of Dallas. But we do also have a little bit of a tornado threat. We have a 5% chance, particularly east of Dallas, right around I would say, I'd say Greenville, Sulphur Springs, Texas, Mount Pleasant. Not super familiar with the areas around Texas, so forgive me if I got some cities wrong and left them out. But let's let's go a little bit further ahead and let's take a look at day 3. We talked about Tuesday yesterday as being a chance for some more severe weather towards the Gulf Coast, but the threat looks to have shifted a little bit further southeast. We're looking more towards, there's a slight risk now, of course, and we're looking at areas like Orlando, Gainesville, Clearwater, Spring Hill, and Deltona. Threat really seems to be pretty much maybe southern tip of the Panhandle of Florida into a little bit more towards north and central Florida. Even though I didn't mention your names, your cities, in the slight risk, don't think that you can't get severe weather in areas like Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Tallahassee, and Cape Coral. There's a little bit more uncertainty with this on whether or not, on what kind of mode of severe weather we're getting. Also, there's a lot of uncertainty about the amount of instability available. Really what I've been getting from the National Weather Service is they aren't sure about whether or not it's even going to be this bad. I don't expect this to uptick and go to an enhanced risk at all. But let's take a look at the NAM 3 kilometer. We're within range of these now, so there's really no need to look at the GFS. By tomorrow, we'll probably be within the range of the HRRR, which would be nice. We'll have a little bit more to look at, but where I want you to direct your attention right now is towards Oklahoma and Texas. I talked about it yesterday. There's going to be a low that ends up forming here as we move along, and you can, even if you pay attention closely as I go back a little bit, you can kind of see a little bit of activity here, almost like you can almost see the low starting to form. It's swirling. You see a little bit of a swirl kicking up here. And then if you look real closely, you can see what looks like potential supercells starting to form just east of Dallas. And then before you know it, there's our low. This is a prime position for a few quick spin up tornadoes, also as well as some damaging winds. It's a pretty big warm sector. I don't think the shear is going to be strong, super strong. We'll take a closer look into that in a moment. But this is going to be a very isolated event. I mean, this thing pushes as far east as maybe Lafayette, and then it just kind of fizzles out and loses a bit of steam. Then there's a low that emerges in the Gulf, and that's what's going to bring our severe weather to Florida on Tuesday. But even then, it doesn't look that impressive from what I'm seeing here. In fact, the low is weakening by the time it gets to Florida. And at this point, I'm thinking it brings more heavy rain than anything else. We might get a few isolated severe storms with damaging winds, but we're gonna have to look at some of the parameters to really get an idea of what we may be dealing with. Keep in mind, there's still about an odd 48 hours between now and Tuesday, so a lot can still change. We'll keep an eye on it. I'll be happy to guide you through what may happen next through tomorrow's video. I will be making one. But we're going to actually go ahead and take a look at some of the severe weather parameters here. So it's about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central Time, I'd say, Monday. And right now, you can still see where that low pressure started to form. And we can already see that there is a little bit of cape over there. And as time goes on, we look a little bit closer, we're noticing an increasing amount of cape, which is a little bit alarming because this looks like it could be a nocturnal event. Like I said, it's not very widespread, and I don't think the tornado risk is really high, but if you do happen to be under this area here, definitely stay weather aware. Make sure you have a way to get warnings late at night, or maybe even stay up if you have to. So this bit of cape by about 5-6 a.m. or 5 a.m. Central Time, it's already dissipating. We're already losing it. And this is why a lot of the National Weather Service isn't very sure on whether or not this is going to be like a big deal. There is a little bit of cape around the severe weather area, the slight risk that they had marked out in north central Florida, but it's really towards the south. If anything, the threat might be a little bit further south. And there might be, but Wednesday, the threat's already dropped by that point, so I don't know if the ingredients come together for any major severe weather. Of course, as I've said before, there's a lot of time for this to change. We'll only hash the details out further as we get closer and closer to the event. So we're going to go back towards Monday night, early Tuesday morning here. And we're going to take a look at the lapse rate and see what kind of hail threat we might be working with here. So from what we can see here, lapse rate is definitely higher around the Four Corners region, and that is definitely going to be moving to the east as this low pressure starts to form. So I think during the early part of this severe weather event, there's a good chance for some small hail and gusty straight line winds, as well as a couple supercells. The main reason I'm not really sold on it being a big tornado threat will be the lower level jet, which we'll talk about in a moment. But as you can see here, the lapse rate is pretty high. In fact, we're actually looking at a rate of 8.5 or higher at some points in northeast Texas. So definitely be prepared for some small hail. Those capes are definitely high enough to produce supercells. You really only need about the capes which I showed you earlier. You only need about 500 to 700 joules per kilogram, and I was seeing stuff that was hitting about 1,000. So definitely something worth watching. And then it's pretty much the same deal with the lapse rate. Hangs around the low. We start to lose some of that energy. Then that's that. Come Wednesday, as we move further and further east, it starts to come apart. So we're gonna go a little bit further here. We're actually gonna take a look at the lower level jet here, the 850 millibar. Okay, there we go. Thought my computer was doing a thing with me. So we're looking at early Tuesday morning, and you can see a little bit of you do see a little bit of a jet. It's not necessarily screaming. Definitely nothing compared to the last storm we had. But there are winds up to about 70, close to 75 knots. Definitely enough to cause a tornado if there was a severe storm that ended up under that area. Like I said, this is definitely looking like a nocturnal event, so this is definitely something that you want to be careful of. Hopefully you have a NOAA weather radio, or you just keep your phone on at night if you have EAS alerts. And then Tuesday, as we look further and further onward, that low-level jet does seem to strengthen a bit, but I think it's just lagging a little bit too far behind to really cause a significant severe weather event for Florida. It's unclear whether or not anything will happen Wednesday. If anything, I've been hearing the potential's too low. So in the meantime, we'll have to just keep an eye on that. But Tuesday, I'm not too sold on that event, to be honest. So we're gonna really just keep on talking about Monday here. So we're gonna move back to where I had it before, right about the midnight hour on Monday into early Tuesday. We're going to take a look at the significant tornado parameter here, if I can find it. Okay, here we go. So while we're looking for this to load here, my computer's dragging today. Sorry, guys. Man. Alright, we can just get it to inch forward past the 24-hour mark. There we go. Now we can at least get it started. So of course, just like we saw with the Cape and everything else, our STP here pops up whenever that low starts to pop up around 9-10 o'clock. Significant tornado parameter. I don't expect it to be too high. Yeah, most we really get out of it is a 1.5, maybe a 2 at the most, if even that. So as we move further and further along, looks like there could be some water spouts with that upcoming system as it goes into the Gulf, but that's about it. There's nothing really telling me that there's going to be a big tornado outbreak on either day, but this is still something to watch for. Of course, like I said, there's still time for this to uptrend or downtrend even. So best thing to do is just stay weather aware, because conditions can and often do change quickly. But that's really all I have for you guys tonight. It's been Ty, your Metalhead Weatherman. Y'all have a good night. Stay metal. Have a good rest of your evening.